Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to your Monday edition of Wasatch Weekends. We love getting to be here to inspire maybe some new learning or inspire a great date night activity that you can do up at the St. Regis. Now, we've got a great show in store for you as we're going to talk to the founder of Elephant Learning, as today is Math 2.0 Day. Then we're going to go up to the St. Regis, and Julio's going to step into the kitchen with one of the incredible chefs. But first, let's take a look at that local weather forecast. Did you know that today is Math 2.0 Day? Well, we had a chance to catch up with the brilliant founder of Elephant Learning. And Elephant Learning is a fun and interactive way for your children to learn math right on your phone with a great app. So let's hear what they have to say.
Now, welcome back to Good Morning Vail. I am honored to be joined here on the couch because this is a very, very important topic. And with the rise of the COVID pandemic and before, kids are falling behind in their education, specifically in math, because they don't understand why they need to use it. And joining me today is Dr. Aditya Nagrath, who is the founder of Elephant Learning. How are you?
Hi, great. Thank you for having me.
So I mentioned, with the COVID pandemic, it's really, I think, heightened and highlighted education, and specifically around mathematics. And you are such an impressive person. And so how did you decide to come up with Elephant Learning?
So we came up with Elephant Learning because we had done some research and we had found out that 4 out of 5 students start kindergarten unprepared for the kindergarten curriculum. And this happens completely along income lines. And the reason why is because the top 20% earners are able to send their children to preschool. And in preschool, they ensure that they meet the standard for counting to 10. But ultimately, that's what we learned, is that students were coming in and they didn't really understand counting to 10. And that was because that there's this gap between what the parent thinks counting to 10 is and what the standards say counting to 10 is.
And starting at such a young age and not being comfortable with that, it creates anxiety. So talk to me about mathematic anxiety and how it is a very much real thing.
Like the stem of the mathematics anxiety is this idea of understanding that language of mathematics. So we focus on teaching the mathematics of language, the language of mathematics. And so like when you don't understand the teacher and you're trying to just get through and get to the next level, whatever that is, anxiety starts to form because it looks like everyone around you understands this and you're supposed to know it, but like there's like this imposter syndrome starting to form. And it's kind of maybe the basis of where it all comes from.
Yeah, you don't want to let your teacher down. And then on top of that, you want to seem like you're keeping up with everybody in the classroom. So then that anxiety just starts to compound as you get older and you learn more and you move through the school system and the curriculum. Now, Elephant Learning, very impressive. So you have a background in computer programming. You learned the C++ language at the age of 14.
Yeah.
So naturally, you moved into this application development process. So what inspired it? How did you create Elephant Learning? Tell me all about it.
Sure. What we inherited was a program that was funded by the National Science Foundation and partly by the Toyota Foundation. And it had activities for 4 and 5-year-olds. These activities help demonstrate the concepts to the students. So like, think about it like teaching the colors. You have to show a student red things, and then they have to infer that red refers to the color. So you show them a red truck, a red ball, a red whatever, and you're labeling it, red truck, red ball, etc. So they learn that red refers to the color. In the same way, like we teach the quantities, it's the same thing that parents would do. How many fingers am I holding up? Or can you give me 6 things? And then from there, we teach them the operations. And again, they have to kind of live with it. So like, give me 5 things, give me 4 more things. How many do I have now? It's the idea of 5 plus 4. So through these activities, they actually learn the language of mathematics, and then they understand the teacher better in the classroom because they have a experience or a reference point to think back to when they look at the written mathematics.
And so, oftentimes with math, you're just doing it, you're executing it, and that's it. You don't think about the why or whatnot. And so through your program, you're able to kind of like appreciate and initiate that conversation as well.
Yeah, so like the real thing that they're getting out of it is this ability to see, when do I use these operations to solve problems? And that's what's most important, because if you've memorized your multiplication tables, but you can't use multiplication to solve a real life problem or a word problem, then multiplication is absolutely useless to you. Even if you're memorizing the mnemonic, right? In real life, when the multiplication problem shows up, you don't have a mnemonic.
Yeah.
So really, we make math useful for the student.
Yeah, so speaking of students, how many students have worked through your program? You've been in business 7 years, so very impressive. Tell me all about it.
So over the last 7 years, we've had over 150,000 students go through our system. We ran a research study on 56,000 students, and what we found was that on average, they learned 1.67 years of math over the course of 13 weeks. They used it just under 40 minutes per week. Our initial study had them learning about 1.5 years of math over the course of 10 weeks, using it just under 30 minutes per week. So those numbers, they basically line up. So we're reproducing the experiment over and over again.
And that's great. And so you mentioned 1.5 years of math, so that just boosts them 1.5 years up into the grade level that they should be, or maybe above if they're doing really well.
Right. Well, we focus on the essential topics. And when you teach it as a language, they're able to pick it up a little bit faster. They might not be able to execute the operations with fluency is what they call it, like speed, right? But they're able to execute it. So that's, in modern society, that's like better, because you can always pull out a calculator and you could always execute it if you could figure out which are the operations that you need to run. But then ultimately, again, we actually make the math useful to the student because they're able to use it.
So Dr. Aditya, tell me about the rise of smartphones. People are relying on their smartphones for any kind of answers, so mathematic calculations specifically. I love the idea that you have an app and you're able to teach people. So what are you seeing from a kid's perspective? How many kids, like what's the average age? Do you feel like they're learning a little bit better? Tell me more. Right,
so we cover from counting through algebra, and we've had students of almost all ages, because like if you're struggling with upper level mathematics, typically there's a misconception in algebra or earlier. The average age might be 7 or 8 years old, but that's because the range is wide. And I think that like the most amazing thing is that we have students that come in, they don't like mathematics, they don't like math in the classroom. And then they use our system, and then after being able to understand what's happening in the classroom, now mathematics is engaging to them because they're able to participate in the classroom. The games themselves, again, there are activities that like are demonstrating the concepts, like give me 5 things, give me 4 more things, how many do I have now? Or, like for multiplication, we have rows or groups of items. So like each group has 7, and you can see there's 4 groups. How many things do we have? And there's curtains that ensure that like they just can't count them up.
Oh, good.
So like,
good.
What we do then is that like these activities, they're not really hiding the math, but they feel like a puzzle game to the student, and a lot of students start to engage with it.
And it really just increases their confidence in the classroom. I love that.
Yeah, and it builds problem-solving skills, and then also it builds intuition into this idea of induction. So like that's the idea that what's true on smaller numbers is also true on larger numbers. So that's what we do, is we go through the operations and we kind of start with small numbers and we may move them up so that they see it working through small to larger numbers.
Great. So talk to me about parent involvement in elephant learning. Where can they go for more information? How do they get involved in making sure that their kids are really learning and utilizing your tools?
Sure. Yeah. So like for the parent, we have these dashboards, and the dashboards tell the parent what the student's working on, where there might be struggles, so if they needed to focus, they could. And also like what activities you could be doing outside of the system to reinforce those same ideas. Like when we determine that they're ready for fluency with addition or multiplication, we might give you card games to play so that you're multiplying and you're building that speed and that memorization. But after they've understood it, so they understand why they're doing it. But basically, to get started, they could just go to elephantlearning.com. You put in your email address, and that's the way to get started. From there, you can download an app onto the tablet of the student. But yeah, everything's available basically through website and through app.
Awesome. Now, I think it's so important, and it's a great way to bond with your child too. So I love that you have a parent side of it that can really make sure that things are happening.
We have coaching videos that show like how could you work with the student. We typically recommend the why method. And we give this out for free, so I've said this on podcasts before, but basically what it is you let the student answer incorrectly, and then you ask them, why do you think that's the right answer? So it's kind of like asking them to show their work, but like for kind of the younger students, the why is around the language. So when the student tells you why, you're gonna be able to see what is it that they don't understand and what is the language you need to clarify, or if you just need to give them a hint so that they get that aha moment.
I love that. So talk to me about the results. What results
Sure.
are you seeing?
Yeah, well, on average, again, students are learning years of mathematics over the course of several months, using it just 10 minutes a day, 10 to 20 minutes a day. And I mean, they go into the classroom, they feel more confident, they start to say that I actually do enjoy math class, they start to see the usefulness of math in everyday life, they start talking about it with their parents. So like, yeah.
It's just a great, so 1.5 years, they can increase it in about 12 to 13 weeks.
Yeah.
Their knowledge base is great.
Yeah, again, we focus on the essential topics as a language. The goal was, can I get them to understand the teacher in the classroom so that we could fill that gap? Because what we did see was that over time, the education system in America works for those top 20% income earners. And this makes sense because if you came into the education system able to understand the teacher, then the education system is effective. So then the question is how can we make it effective for everyone?
Yeah, how can you provide supplemental income that's, or not income, but supplemental education that's fun?
Right.
Absolutely.
Supplemental education that could then make it so that when they participate in the classroom, it's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Now, tell us where we can go for more information and find out any other details that we need to know.
Sure. Everything's on our website, elephantlearning.com. If you find us on Facebook, you can DM us. I think Instagram also works. But yeah, like just contact us, email us at support@elephantlearning.com. We're happy to answer any questions, but almost everything's on our website.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Aditya, thank you so much for coming on the show. I love your passion and your knowledge. It's so impressive to see the research that you put into this and just the passion you have to help elevate education and the school system. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now stay tuned. We have a lot more here on this next episode, so we'll be right back after this.
Are you looking for a great place to do a wonderful date night? Well, we're going to take you up to the St. Regis because it's got some delicious dining that you're not going to want to miss out on. Our very own Julio stepped into the kitchen with one of the incredible chefs, and let's see what they're whipping up.
All right, Chef, you are giving us a little exclusive look into the kitchen here at Rhyme.
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little bit about what you are preparing or what you're going to be making for us.
So today we're going to do two dishes. We're going to highlight the seasonality and freshness of the seafood that we purchase here at Rhyme.
Yeah.
We are a high-end seafood and steakhouse, but we like to focus and concentrate on the seafood aspect of. If we didn't all know, Rhyme, the word Rhyme, stands for the first sheeting of frozen ice on top of whether it's your grass, the ocean, the bow of a boat.
Yes.
So with that being said, the highlight is to accentuate fresh seafood, locally caught, wherever it comes from the United States. So our scallops are thrown in from a day boat out of Massachusetts. Our salmon's caught right here in the great land of Alaska, in the great community of there, as fresh as it gets. So today we're just gonna heat up some local peas, some fresh chanterelle mushroom, a little bit of roasted red peppers.
And you can already start to smell.
Yeah, and over here we have our play on like Indian street corn with a little Mexican flair, being that the indigenous people of this community were the Navajos and the Utes. and sharing their culture and their
Yeah.
indigenous products is kind of where we came up with this dish. So it's
Love that.
kind of a collection of corn veloute, cotija cheese, Mexican influence
Yes.
with a little bit of
Some
Indian
of those
coolness. Yes, right?
indigenous
Yeah, indigenous
elements.
ingredients. So
Awesome.
from here, we'll just do this. But then as we move here, we'll let these kind of simmer and heat up.
Okay.
But we'll go and plate this lovely
We'll move back over this way.
this lovely watermelon salad that we have. So we have fresh watermelon that we've compressed in a simple syrup,
Okay.
served with mint. We have this beautiful mango jelly for a little bit of sweetness.
That looks delicious.
And then, being from the Caribbean and being that I like a little spice in my life, we have a little fresh cocoa,
Okay.
infused with a little bit of habanero. That's just going to kind of give this dish a little bit of essence,
Yeah.
and then just kind of take it to the next level with the flavors of all of that. You have your sweet, you have your sour, you have your kind of spicy, and then on top we take pickled shallots and we make a gel. And the gel is to kind of treat it so that the texture's in the mouth. You have crunchy, you have soft,
Yes.
and then you have smooth. So it's all about, you eat with your eyes and then you taste with your mouth.
Exactly.
But the mouth needs to have textures and flavors. So
I love
this is
that.
what we do.
I love that combination of, like you said, sweet, savory, a little bit of spice,
Yeah.
and a couple different textures.
I mean, while we're on camera, let's eat it, right?
Let's do
I
it.
mean,
Let's
let's
try
just do it. So I'm gonna grab a little piece like that,
Okay.
and then you're up next.
Okay, I'm just gonna dig right in here. Yep.
I mean, I don't know how many times I could eat it, but it still tastes the same.
Let's see. Oh wow! So that watermelon, you said you kind of compress it.
So we take simple
Until-
syrup and we infuse it and kind
Oh,
of
you
cryovac
infuse
it, and then we cryovac it in a kind of air suction machine.
Yep.
We let that compress overnight so that the texture of the watermelon
Yes.
eats like a seafood rather than that sweetness of the watermelon.
I do notice that
Yeah.
kind of unique texture of the watermelon, but it's so delicious.
Yeah.
So do you serve this as an
This
appetizer?
is an
as a
appetizer.
dessert?
This is an appetizer at night for Rhyme. This is one of our high-end appetizers that we're starting on the new menu here.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into a few of the entrees and just kind of take you through the walks of life and what we do here at Rhyme.
Perfect.
All right.
I love it.
So let's go into that.
Let's do it. Going into
We're going to do
Spring, summer
yes,
mode.
spring summer mode. So we're going to grab our little pea puree here. So it's just nice spring peas that we've reduced down and made into a sauce, right?
Okay.
So we're going to take this and we're just going to kind of marry it, make a little dollop here. This is infused with tarragon just to give it the sweetness of the summer,
Yep.
right?
I do love those combinations of flavor that really do highlight and go perfect for the summer
Yeah, yeah.
season.
That's the idea, is to keep it as local and seasonality as possible.
Yeah.
Then we have our fresh scallops.
Scallops sizzling right off the
Yep.
grill.
We'll put one
right
there,
over the sauce there.
right on the side here. And a nice foursome of scallops there. Then we'll finish this with the nice fresh vegetables from the spring. So we'll dollop it with a little bit of the chanterelles inside there.
Yep. So this is what
Yep.
we were
This is where we were warming up earlier.
sauteing earlier. Yes. Oh, that looks and smells quite amazing.
And then we'll do that. And then obviously, as we talked before, we'll come over here
microgreens.
to the micro garden and we'll get just a little bit of freshness just to kind of highlight the idea here.
Yeah.
Obviously, for color, I go into the reds.
Love that.
Amaranth has like that kind of natural licoricey flavor.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna highlight that with a little bit of that just to kind of give it that essence. And then here's the essence of our scallop dish.
Love that. And I love that pop of pink, pop of color.
Yeah, we got to do that. It's you. Like I said, you eat with your eyes,
Yes,
and then you finish,
taste
and then
with
you
your
taste with the
You
mouth,
taste with
right?
your mouth. I love that.
So we'll go here again. We'll eat some more.
Round two. Yes. Thank you, chef.
Here you go. Go ahead. We're just gonna go in. I'll just cut this in half for you.
Yeah. Let's do a little.
Then you can do that one,
Taste
and I'll
test.
do this one.
Perfect.
Go ahead. You first.
All right. I'm gonna also do one bite here. So the sauce, you said it's a pea sauce.
Yeah. It's local peas,
Yes.
melted down with some tarragon, garlic, and shallots, and then we infuse it with a little bit of butter and some cream,
All right.
and just kind of balance it out.
Oh wow. So fresh.
Right?
With the greens in there,
Uh-huh.
the sauce, the shallot, super fresh,
Yeah. Simple.
simple, fresh, but delicious.
Yeah.
Which I
Nothing's
love.
overdone, right?
Nothing's overdone.
No, and the
It's
idea
perfectly balanced.
The idea is you want to have minimal steps to accentuate the flavors that you're putting on the plate.
Yeah.
Right. And
And
the more we do, the less it gets all
Yeah, no,
messed up.
that's definitely perfect balance between
Well, perfect.
all the flavors.
Well, thank you. And then now,
Yes. What's the third?
we'll finish off with the beautiful salmon.
Okay.
Salmon, salmon,
El salmon. I love it.
right? And this is like my play. I'm a New Yorker by trade,
Yeah.
raised in California.
Okay.
So being close to San Ysidro and Tijuana,
Yes.
what's the most famous thing there is elote street corn.
Elote, yes.
Right? Rolled in the cayenne, dipped in cotija cheese, finished with a little bit of
Bit of
mayonnaise.
mayo.
Yep. So we're gonna do all those things, minus the dairy of the mayo and that. So it's kind of just a play off of, for me, one of my favorite summer things is corn soup.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna take this corn veloute and we're just gonna swoosh it over here.
I love that you take inspiration from places you've lived or places you visited.
Yeah.
Kind of incorporating that into the
Well, I mean,
dishes as well.
that's kind of where the history of food comes from.
Yeah.
You know, as you travel as a student or as an adult, you take those influences. Nothing in the world hasn't been done before.
Right.
Right? And starting with the spice trade. Those spices came to America via the Asian international route.
Right.
Without them, we would just be cooking with salt and pepper. So to understand the indigenous world of where food comes from and why it's made that way gives us the advantage in how we cook our food.
Yep,
Right?
love that.
So
All
we're
right.
going to do the salmon here. We're going to take this lovely, crispy Copper River salmon.
Yep.
Some nice skin on it.
Nice and crispy there.
Yep. We'll take it, we'll plate one here. We'll plate another piece there. And then we'll grab our lovely vegetable medley here.
Just kind of top it
And
off.
just kind of
there.
top it off, yeah.
Wow.
And then the idea here is, can't finish anything in Mexico without some nice
With that
cotija
cotija
cheese,
cheese.
right?
Definitely will bring out those flavors.
And there we have our salmon,
There we have our salmon.
for summer, right? So we'll
So
get in
these-
here.
Sorry, Chef.
Go.
These three items are all part of the summer.
All part of the
menu.
summer menu here at
Okay.
Rhyme. We do have steaks on our menu, everything from 42-ounce tomahawks that have been dry aged for 45 days to double cut porterhouse, pork porterhouse steaks, fillets, those things. Those are all cooked in a steakhouse style, simple and prepared fresh with whatever sauce you would like. But for us, I think it's important in the summer that we highlight the true ingredients that we get, that we only get for a 6-month period or 5-month period, and that's the freshness of this fish that we fly in every day. So we have a purveyor that we work with every day. Every day by 12 o'clock, we make an order for fish that's caught that day on a boat,
Oh, wow.
packaged, processed,
Flown in.
to us. We get it the next morning. So I don't know if there's anywhere that can say that their fish is that
Yeah.
fresh.
That's as
Yeah.
fresh as it gets up here in the mountains.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right.
So let's get into some
Let's try
salmon.
the salmon.
I'll let
I
you
love
have that
that
one.
little crispiness and that
Yeah.
crunch.
Yeah, go
right
ahead.
on the top.
You go first.
Alrighty. I'm gonna try to get some of the corn in there as
And the
well. with
salsa, yeah.
cotija cheese. All right. Cheers, Chef.
Cheers.
Can't go wrong
Nope.
with any of these, really.
Nope.
Super delicious, super fresh, well balanced flavors. Once again, and I love that corn with the cotija cheese. Super good.
Yeah, it just reminds me of my childhood, you know?
It does. It really does.
And I think when you play with food and you work with food, if you can bring back nostalgic memories to guests,
That's what it's all about.
that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
And then get them starting to think, my grandmother used to make this. But you made it
Absolutely.
as good as my grandmother.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the stories that we like to captivate with our guests.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Chef, thank you so much for taking the time of preparing some of the dish items that you did today, part of the summer menu here at the St. Regis, and for the overall experience that the entire team has given us here. We really did receive that luxury treatment that the St. Regis is all about, so I appreciate you all being with us today,
Yeah.
and to the rest of the St. Regis team for joining us.
and you know what our motto here is at St. Regis, right?
What is it?
When the guest has to think, there's no luxury involved, right?
Yeah.
So we invited you to our house to show you what luxury is without having the expectation or knowing what we were going to provide for you. So thank you for joining us. It's our privilege to have you on property. We'd love to see you again. You're welcome here. Our doors are always
Thank you so
open.
much.
You're now part of the family.
I appreciate
so
that.
the family branch is extended. You're welcome here anytime, and we'd love to see you more.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you, Julio. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Let's keep digging in.
Let's go. Why not?
Yeah.
More food.
Thank you, Chef. Appreciate it.
Hungry.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into your Monday morning edition of Wasatch Weekends. I've been your host, Maddie Evans, and we love getting to be here every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to maybe help you inspire some new learning or try some new places to eat out and have a wonderful date night. Make sure that you tune in on Friday for your next edition of Wasatch Weekends.